Hi everybody, welcome back to our Ask the Expert series on the banking and finance socials. Really delighted that Ben Harrison's joined us today from a wealth management perspective. Really great to understand a bit more what's going on there, key issues affecting that particular market at the moment. But first, Ben. A lot going on in wealth management at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you just want to draw out sort of two or three of the main issues that are affecting sort of business owners?
Absolutely. I think the main one, which is coming down the track very quickly, in less than 2 years, is the proposed changes to pension legislation.
Okay.
So throughout my career as advising clients, one of the areas that we've looked at is maybe maintaining pensions for more as a generational plan for children and the future. So clients have been doing that, building up funds and not really using pensions as a traditional means, Greg.
Yes.
But the proposals from 2027, meaning that unused pensions will then form part of IHT, inheritance tax.
Yes. The estate.
Such a big change. Now, it's about keeping calm and carrying on because legislation doesn't come into play until 2027.
No.
So clients who are frantically wondering what to do with their pensions, it's about just calming down and just looking and seeing the situation and then taking stock of what's available to do. So often have joint meetings with our tax team here at MHA to then get quite a rounded solution for them on their pension and their wider wealth from an inheritance tax point of view. So I would say pensions from a legislation point of view in a couple of years' time is such a big change or a big shift in how people have viewed that in the past.
And it's now the time to take that advice. I would guess the sooner you take that advice, to give yourself some thinking time after that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is a risk that if people start accessing their pension benefits now before the proposed changes, bring the money into their estate, and then if they're unfortunate to pass away before the change in legislation, they've made their position worse by increasing their estate, you see. So getting the advice from an advisor, I think, is very sensible advice. And pre-plan, making sure that we're ready for 2027 and we know what the options are in the future, and that's the key thing about pre-planning rather than leaving it to the last minute, and then that's where unwise decisions could be made without a bit of pre-planning.
So. And I guess as we've been doing these videos, a common theme that's come through from the experts has been all of these areas now are getting more and more complex. Yes. And therefore, we're talking to Chris Daines on the tax side, just said when I started, you used to file a tax return, end of story. Not anymore, and I guess that's no different in terms of it's more of a minefield than it ever used to be.
It is, and pension simplification, which came into force many years ago, was quite the opposite. It's quite a complex area, and meeting with clients over the years, pensions has had a bit of bad press in terms of the makeup of a pension, and pensions die with you, and there's a perception that pensions aren't as good as what we think, but they are from a income tax planning or from a tax planning point of view. Pensions are very tax efficient. Although they've lost their shine as such from 2027 because of the proposed changes. But those individuals and probably business owners who are looking to extract profits from companies, pensions are still a really sound way of bringing money out of the company into pensions from a tax relief point of view. But I think it's around that pre-planning, because somebody in their 60s has got time to be able to plan in terms of how they access the pension. Somebody in their late 80s may not have the facility to do that, you see. So, but your point before about pre-planning is 100% true. We should be talking now to make sure we've got a plan in place, really.
Okay, brilliant. And in terms of what are the other areas that you'd like to touch on?
So we're having conversations now with clients about 2026, and there's changes to business relief, which is impacting on a lot of MHA clients. So I'm attending meetings with our tax colleagues to look at a solution of what options are available, and what wealth management strategies can be adopted. And very simply, as an explanation, if there are plans to distribute shares or give shares to family members, or indeed dispose of shares, then there may be some requirement to have some life insurance in place, because there's a period of time before the shares fall out of the estate. But if an individual, an owner-manager, retains the value of the shares, then again, there's a liability upon those shares from 2026 onwards. And therefore, it's how's that funded if all the other assets are just in the company and maybe in property, let's say. So we're getting quite a few inquiries relating to the changes from 2026 as well, Greg.
Okay. On that sort of similar theme, so obviously we do quite a lot in banking and finance around sort of MBOs, MBIs, that sort of stuff. And lenders really like life insurance, but also key man cover on those individuals. Is that easy to access at the moment?
When it comes to life insurance protection, it is very much a sold concept. I don't think I've had a client come to me saying, I need some key person insurance or I need some life insurance.
No,
it just doesn't happen.
There's a driver for it.
I may need a pension or an investment, but I think I think that's where, as an advisor, being able to understand the individual and the business and the risks associated with that, I think is key for us to be able to outline and demonstrate the value of how a key person policy may be appropriate for somebody who's a significant contributor to profits, somebody in sales, for example. So it's about selling the concept, selling the value, probably, to say, actually, this is why it's needed, this is what the impact of not having it, can you afford not to have it?
And it can be significant. We've got a client at the moment where they didn't get the key man cover they were going to, or their insurance, and unfortunately he did get cancer and pass away, and his wife now has got the shares. She had to buy those in, and we're talking £2 million.
And it can be significant. And I've had one or two calls throughout the years from the widow of the deceased, who has luckily taken my advice and had the insurance in place. And I think that's such a satisfactory feeling. To know that you've done a good job and you've protected, a significant change to somebody's lives. So it is very much a sold concept, whether it's loan protection, whether it's key person or shareholder protection.
Now then, in terms of businesses, and if you were in business, rather than being a wealth manager, but knowing what you know, what 2 or 3 pieces of advice would you give yourself?
I would say, first of all, as a business, your people are your key for the success moving forward. So having the right level of employee benefits in place. So take private medical insurance as a really good example. Offering private medical insurance to your employees then means that the stress and the worry about an illness or a condition in the future can be met via that policy. But it also helps the business as well, because that individual should get back on their feet a lot quicker than going through the waiting periods through NHS. So I think making sure your employee benefits solutions are differentiated from the rest, because if you are, then I think the retention of good people makes a big difference. So I think employee benefits is one thing. Second thing I would say about surround yourself with good people and good experts, and you may say, I will say that.
Absolutely.
But I do believe that, because having a team of professionals working with you, whether that's wealth, whether that's tax, whether that's banking and finance, audit, the accounts team, I think you get that rounded holistic advice, and I think that feeds in then to being able to identify and optimise opportunities in the future. So it may be relating to pensions, we go back to pensions, or it might be relating to some tax planning, for example. But I think having good people around you and having that collective approach, I think, is vital for business owners.
So we have a client who says exactly the same thing. I'm only as good as the partners I have, because I don't know everything. And taking that advice doesn't mean I have to accept it, but it means I get all the information to make the best decision for my business. And as we discussed, it's such a complex world.
It is. I'd also say as well, a lot of owner-managed businesses, SME, the owners of the businesses don't often detach themselves from the business. So it's about saying, well, what's your business financial plan? But actually, what's your personal financial plan? Have you done a will? Have you done powers of attorney? What about if there's a bump along the road? Do you have insurance? Do you have a pension? So I think pre-planning for the individual, but also thinking about the business and relating back to the key person and the shareholder we mentioned earlier, I think is vital, just to differentiate the two and say, right, okay, have I got a plan for each?
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Ben. Expert clearly in wealth management. Again, if you want to speak to Ben or any of our other wealth management team, please contact us at mha.co.uk.